Okay, that's a little bit better. Now I can operate a little bit better here. We're trying to get this together. Excuse our thing at the beginning. We're just trying to get all this technology and everything together. But we're going to work it out together anyway. As we take, we are afraid for ourselves and our children. In our daily lives and in our lives that we see that the times and troubles and things in our lives that we are afraid for ourselves. We also see that we are afraid for our children because we notice and we understand the things and the trials and tribulations that our children go through. And so we don't see the end for that, and therefore sometimes we are afraid. But man in his initial state is afraid because he does not call on God, or he does not trust God to help him through the situation. We tend to already want to know the answer. The answer itself sometimes is not there. It's beyond man's recognition. It's beyond man's comprehension, to use a better word. But when we realize that if we turn to God, that everything will work out. We may not be able to see the answer right now, but we will later on be able to understand and see the answer. But we also say that, but God, if you take our burdens as our own, then we know that you are the one that we can lay our burdens on. You are our refuge and strength. God, between the people and their troubles and their strife, that they understand that there are things that they just cannot do. When man gets to the point that he throws his hands up and he's finished. When he's at that point, then he must realize that he must turn to God for his refuge and his strength. We need to cling to God during our times of trouble. And we need to ask him to lead us step by step out of the darkness and into the light. See, that sometimes we might be able to see our way out. We can see through the glass, but we don't know the way to get there. So we have to ask God to lead us step by step along the way. Now, if we're going to follow God, then we got to follow God. Now, sometimes we get ahead of God. Now, when we get ahead of God, then we really don't know where to go. And sometimes we go astray. So if we wake up and we realize that we can see the end and we start going in that direction, if we look up and we don't see God, then we either need to slow down, stop, or back up. One of those three, so that we be able to see God. That means that God's in front of us. If we're heading down this journey or to this path and we look up and we don't see God, we could be going the wrong way. We could be headed one way and God headed in another direction. Or we left God somewhere and we need to go back. We need to turn around, we need to back up. Or we just need to stop and let God meet us where we are. Sometimes we try to meet God somewhere and you know, we miss him. Most people say that, some people say that, well, you know, I'll wait to Sunday to see God, or I'll wait to Saturday to see God. Well, you know, if you wait that late, you done missed him. God has already come and gone. You missed all of the opportunities to be with him when you had the chance. And sometimes we don't get a second chance. So we need to straighten up our lives. We need to understand that God is our refuge, that God is our strength. We hold to the promise that wherever we go, we should not be afraid. Now, as we travel this journey, as we travel this life, we should not be afraid. No matter where we go in this life, no matter what we do, we should not be afraid to to travel in this pilgrim journey. Now, this pilgrim journey that we're on, in this land of milk and honey, as they say, is that we need to understand that God is our refuge and our strength, which is the main topic of the lesson tonight. Verse 1 in Psalm 46, verse 1, that God is our refuge and strength. That when we get tired and weary and in this journey, and we don't seem to know where we're going, and there are just times that we just don't know. So at some point along the way, we're going to have to, at some point, call on God. Now, depending on how bad the situation is. Now, all situations are bad. It's just a matter of what level of bad they're going to get to. But if we have God in front of us in all of our situations, then we should be able to handle everything that we come across. Now, a writer, and I want to give you his name, W.T. Purkiser. W.T. Purkiser said that God does not offer us a way out of the testings of life. He offers us a way through. Now, that statement right there, that God does not offer us a way out. Now, as the beginning of the lesson, we talked about Job and the story of Job. Now, if you really took a good look at the story of Job, you realize that God did not give him a way out. See, God could have come in and told Satan to don't even touch him. Don't touch, anything. Don't touch his possessions. Don't touch his family. Don't touch him. Don't touch anything. But God allows Satan to do these things because Satan said that if you take this hedge from around him, he will curse you to his face. And do you know that when we go through our times of trouble and things, we ask the question, God, why me? Well, why do I have to go through this? The question we should be asking is, God, where are you right now? What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? Who do you want me to talk to? Where do you want me to have my sights? Those are the kinds of questions that we need to ask because we should feel comfortable that God is our refuge and our strength. And as long as God is our refuge and our strength, then we have nothing to worry about. And again, as we, and the book of Job in the Bible is a very a good example of God being a refuge and a strength. Because in all of his downtrodden situation that he was in, he once believed. He once believed. And once you believe, you always believe that God is there. That whatever is happening, God has his hands in it. So it must be something that he wants me to go through. And in our trials and tribulations, there is things that God wants us to go through. So that when we come out on the other side, we'll realize that it was him and only him that gave us the strength and the courage to go through. Usually in our times when we see some of the bad things that happen, and God knows that some people do some strange things, that they've lost all hope. They've given up hope. And we should not give up hope. Even though the situation looks bad. The situation could look the worst it has ever been. But we still should not give up. It's tempting to give up. It's easy to give up. In fact, it gets easier all the time. Every time we think about it, it gets easier and easier. But it takes strength and courage to go through the trials and tribulations that are in our lives. We've got to remember and we've got to call on God to help us. Now, when we call on God to help us, we got to have the faith and know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that God is going to help us. Now, as long as we doubt, then we are wavering. And an unstable mind it's not good. That's not good. That means we're unstable in all our ways. We have to have a sure mind, have a mind made up that God is our strength and our refuge. And when we come to that realization that God is our strength and our refuge, then and only then will we be able to surrender our lives to Him. Once we surrender our lives to Him, then we allow God to lead us. And when we look up on our journey, we will see God. We will see Him in front of us, leading us and guiding us the way that we need to be. It is when we lose our focus and we start looking at the situation. And when we look at the situation, then we take our eyes off of God, and then we tend to go down the wrong path. Our paths are not that difficult for us. We make them difficult. Our lives can be a wondrous life, a peaceful life, if we have God in our lives. It is when God is out of our lives, when we lose touch with God, and we want to know where God is at this moment. Well, God is right where you left Him. He's not going anywhere. We're the ones that leave God. So in our times of trouble, we need to know that God is our refuge. Now, we also need to know that God is going to allow us to go through these things. So when you hear the scripture that we should count it all joy, we should count it all joy when we fall into divers temptation. Because we know that it is the testing of our faith. And it will actually be the time that we will actually see God at work. We need to sit back and watch God work. God works, as they say, in mysterious ways, but God does not work in a mysterious way. There is no such thing as a mysterious way for God. His ways are not our ways, so therefore we don't understand and we don't know what His ways and things are. Well, the clock on the wall says that it's time for me to get off. I've done my time tonight. I want you to know that I'm glad that you joined with me tonight. And I'm on every Friday night. This is Talking Bible. This is done by Church.com. I'm the Reverend Doctor. As we end tonight, I want you to know that you can reach me at Talking Bible at churchdotcom.org. That is Talking Bible at churchdotcom.org. You can reach me here every Friday night on Skype on Talking Bible. It starts at 8 o'clock. And we end about around 8:30. Take about 30 minutes of your time, and let's have a little talk with God. As in all ways, in my parting, I love you, and may God have mercy upon our souls. Thank you very much for tonight. Good night.